Hello dear children, today in our class we have to continue the explanation from line number 17. Okay, now enter Shylock. Duke says, make room and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then 'tis thought thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty, and where thou now exactest the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh. Now here what Duke says that make room and let him stand before our face. Duke says that make room, that is gives him some space and let him come and stand in front of our face. Shylock, the world thinks and I think so too. Now, as Shylock came and stood before the Duke, so what Duke said to him that Shylock, the world thinks. World thinks means that is everyone. Okay, everyone thinks and I think so too. That is everyone think this and I also think the same, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act. And then what Duke says that you but leadest this fashion of thy malice. Now he says that is that you will continue to act in such an evil way, in such a evil way as you were behaving earlier. Now here you can see meaning is given on the other side, line number 19 to 20. Okay, this one here what he says that you only continue with your show of cruelty until the last moment. Now here Duke says that you only continue, कि मतलब सभी लोग ये ऐसा सोचते थे और मैं भी ऐसा सोचता था कि जिस तरीके से तुम ये बुरा व्यवहार एंटोनियो के साथ कर रहे हो ये तुम सिर्फ आखिरी समय तक करोगे, दैट इज टिल द लास्ट मोमेंट. एंड व्हाट इज द लास्ट मोमेंट देयर, कि मतलब कि जब तक कि वो अपना पैसा तुम्हें नहीं दे पा रहा है, दैट 3 months टाइम एज यू हैड गिवन टू हिम टू पे हिम to pay the loan. So if he won't be able to pay you loan, then you are not going to cut the flesh from his body, कि तुम इस तरह का बुरा व्यवहार सिर्फ आखिरी समय तक करोगे. That this thought people had and I also had the same thought. And then after this he says, and then 'tis thought thou will show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. Now meaning you can see other side 21 number, that remorse means pity, and more strange, that means which will be more strange, and apparent is there, that is as it appears now. So here meaning of this line, thou and then it is thought thou will show thy mercy, and then it was thought that if he won't pay you the loan back, then you will show mercy on him, and remorse more strange, and remorse, that is you will show your pity much more in which will be more strange from your side than is thy strange apparent cruelty. That is the way you are presenting yourself here in such a cruel way, the way you are behaving in such a cruel way. So we never expected this. We thought that till last moment only you are going to act in such a way, but at the last moment you will surely show mercy on him. Then, and where thou now exactest the penalty. And now Duke says, and whereas whatever you are doing, that you are doing completely opposite to what we thought. And what is that? What you are doing? That you are now exacting the penalty. Now exacting is given there, meaning that is you are taking, you are asking, you are demanding. Okay, insist on claiming, it is given here, that is now you are insisting to have your penalty, and that is completely opposite to what we thought. And where thou now exacts the penalty, which is pound of this poor merchant's flesh. And what was the penalty? That a poor merchant's flesh, who is to whom he is calling, that Antonio, that poor merchant's flesh. A pound of this poor merchant's flesh is the penalty, and you are asking that. You are claiming for the penalty. Thou will not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love. And then Duke says to Shylock that thou means you, that you will not only lose the forfeiture, that is, you will not only forgive him the penalty, okay, that is a pound of flesh which you have to take from him, that you will not only forgive him to pay that, but touched with human gentleness and love, but you will also be touched with, that is, your heart will be touched with human gentleness, human kindness and love. Okay, that we thought this, that what you are going to do, that you are going to behave in such a way till at the last moment, that if he won't pay you loan back, then you will surely be merciful on him, and then you will not only leave or forgive him to pay the penalty, but you will also be touched with human gentleness and love. And then Duke says to him that forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses. Now what Duke says, that forgive a moiety of the principal. Moiety of the principal means that portion of the principal, and how much was that? 3000 ducats. Okay, 27 number on the other side, you can see it is given that moiety, that means portion, and forgive to principal meaning is given that forgo a portion of the original sum borrowed by Antonio, that is, you forgive him for you forgive him the portion of the principal also, that is, you ask him not to pay 3000 ducats as well. And why? Because he has suffered so much of the losses. Okay, then glancing an eye of pity on his losses. Glancing means looking, that is, looking at his losses with some pity. Point number 28 is given other side. Then that have of late so huddled on his back. And then Duke says that have of late so huddled on his back, that is, that have of late so huddled, that means the losses which have accumulated on him. Okay, that Antonio had suffered so much of the losses. Okay, so he says that so much of the losses that he has to suffer, so by looking at those losses, and which is enough to press a royal merchant down. Line number 30, that enough to press a royal merchant down. Now he says that these many losses that he has incurred, so that is enough for any merchant to pull him down and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. Now what he says, that and pluck commiseration of his estate. Pluck commiseration meaning is given 31 number, that draw pity. Okay, that is, you show pity. Draw pity, that means you show pity of his state, that means for his condition. That is, now here Duke is praying again. He is trying to request Shylock to show mercy on Antonio. And what he says, that I would say you to draw pity, that is, to show pity, to show mercy on this merchant by looking at his condition from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint. Now he says that as you have made your heart so hard hearted, okay, that as you have become so hard hearted, you have made your heart so hard as brass. We know that brass is a very strong metal, it's an alloy mixture of two or more metals. So he says that as you have made your heart as hard as brass, and you have made your heart rough like stone, so you change your heart, that is, you change thoughts for him from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. So he says that from stubborn Turks and Tartars. Now who are Turks and Tartars? You can see at the side, stubborn is given. Point number 33, that means uncultured. Okay, or in Hindi we call stubborn means ziddi, then adamant. So Turks and Tatars, who are Turks and Tatars? Certain Asiatic races which the Elizabethans believed to be uncivilized. Now, who are Turks and Tatars? Very important, you have to keep this in mind, that certain Asiatic races which the Elizabethans believed to be uncivilized, that it was believed by Elizabethans that this race, Turks and Tatars, are uncivilized, uncultured, that is, they don't have any kind of feeling, any kind of affection, any kind of mercy or good thoughts for anyone. Okay, so here he says that you change your mind from stubborn Turks and Tatars, that is, as you have made your heart like Turks and Tatars, you change your mind, you change your heart, and never train to offices of tender courtesy. That is, like Turks and Tatars are never trained. They are never trained means taught to show. Okay, taught to show. That is, as Turks and Tatars are never taught to show mercy on others, to show courtesy, to show kindness towards others, so you don't behave like Turks and Tatars. We all expect a gentle answer due. And finally, Duke stops by saying that we all expect a gentle answer from you, Shylock. That is, in this speech, what we can guess out? We can guess out that Duke is completely in favor of Antonio. Okay, that's why he is trying to make Shylock change his mind and to show mercy on Antonio. Now, after this, Shylock replies that I have possessed your grace of what I purpose, and by a holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. Now, what Shylock says, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose. Shylock says that I have possessed your grace, that I have already informed you. Okay, 36th number is given at the side. Possessed means informed. So he says that I have already informed you that what is my intention. Okay, that what I want to do, what I have to do, what my intention is, I have already informed you. And by a holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. And then Shylock says, and by a holy Sabbath. Now, what is Sabbath? 37 number, it is also very important. Sabbath means Saturday, the seventh day of the Jewish week, which was the sacred day. Okay, the seventh day of the Jewish week is Saturday, and that is very sacred day, very holy day. Pavitra. Okay, sacred is there, that means holy or pavitra. So that day is very, very, very sacred for us, and on that day, on our Sabbath, I have sworn, that is, I have taken oath to have the due and forfeit of my bond. 38 number, that is, to have the due and forfeit of my bond. That penalty, that I will surely take the penalty incurred for non-payment of the sum as per the bond. That as penalty is mentioned in the bond, so surely I am going to charge that. So this oath I had taken on holy Sabbath. And what is Sabbath? Sabbath means holy Saturday. That means the seventh day of the Jewish week is Saturday, and that is a sacred day for Jews. Then after this, Shylock says, if you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. Now, Shylock says that if you deny it, that is, if you are going to refuse me, okay, what he says, you are going to refuse me, that if you refuse me to give my penalty, if you refuse me to give my justice, then let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. So what he says, that if you are going to refuse me to give my justice, then what I will do, that is, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. Let the danger light, that is, let the danger fall upon. Light is there, that means fall upon or descend. Let the danger descend, let the danger fall upon your charter and your city's freedom. Your charter means, that is, the document by which Venice was given independence. So this meaning is given here. So 39 to 40, you can read here what is given. that if you don't uphold the law, that is, if you will not follow the law, then Venice's freedom will disappear. Okay, then why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3000 ducats. Then what Shylock says, that why I rather choose to have, that you will ask me. So what he says, that you are going to question me, that why I rather choose to have, that why I prefer to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3000 ducats. Carrion flesh is there, that means rotten flesh. Now he calls Antonio's flesh as rotten flesh. So he says to Duke, he is asking to Duke, that if you will ask me this question, that why I prefer to have a weight of this rotten flesh than to receive 3000 ducats, I will not answer you, that I am not going to answer this question, but say it is my humor. But only I will reply you is that it is my humor. Now what is humor? Humor means that only I will say that because I want it. It is my desire and I want this. Then is it answered? And now he says to Duke that are you answered now? What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it baned? Now, what the Shylock says, that what if my house be troubled with a rat? Now, here he will give example in order to prove himself that whatever he is doing, that is correct. Okay, now what he says, what example does he give? He says, what if my house be troubled with a rat? That is, well, if my house is troubled with a rat, that if any rat comes to my house and he troubles us, then and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it baned, and I be pleased to give, that is, if I am free to give, spend 10,000 ducats to poison that rat, then so here that if my house is troubled with a rat, and if I am pleased, that is, if I happily spend 10,000 ducats also to poison the rat, then what, are you answered yet? Now he says that, well, are you answered now? Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others when the bagpipe sings and the nose cannot contain. Now here what he says, that some men there are love not a gaping pig, that there are some men who do not like eating the roasted open mouth pig. Okay, meanings is given other side, 48 number. A gaping pig means a pig's head roasted with the open mouth. So he says that there are some men who do not like the gaping pig, and some men there are love that are mad if they behold a cat. And then he says that there are some men, those who behave madly if they look at the domestic cat as well, and others when the bagpipe sings I the nose. Now he says that, and there are others men as well, that when they listen to the music of the bagpipe, then they cannot contain, that is, they are unable to bear it. Okay, they cannot contain. Here you can see other side, 50 to 51 number is given, that other people cannot maintain their self-control when they hear the shrill notes of the bagpipe. So he says here, giving the example, that is, there are some men who do not like the gaping pig, there are some men who do not like the domestic cat as well, and there are some men who do not maintain their self-control when they hear the shrill notes of the bagpipe. And after this he gives reason for this, that for affection, mistress of passion, sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Now he gives reason that why such people behave in such a way, why people do not like the gaping pig, why the people are there, they cannot listen to the shrill noise made by the bagpipe, why there are men who do not like the domestic cat which is very peaceful. So he gives the reason here, that because 51 to 53 number you can see here, it is given that because personal inclination is the ruler of any emotion, and it directs our emotion to like or dislike something. Now what he says, because personal inclination means that it is our personal feelings which is the ruler of any emotion, that our personal feelings are there, our personal inclination is there, to which, to what we like or to what we do not like. It is the ruler of any emotion, that all our emotions which are there, that are controlled or that are based on our personal inclination, and it directs, that is, and it is that our personal inclination directs our emotion to like or dislike something. Okay, whether we like anyone or something or we dislike something, so that depends on our personal inclination. Okay, so that's why now this reason he has given in order to prove his point, that why some men are there, they do not like the gaping pig, why some men are there, they do not like to see the domestic cat, why there are some men who cannot maintain their discipline, self control, by hearing the sound of the. So now for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered why he cannot abide a gaping pig. Now Shylock says, that is now for your answer, that is for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered, that is there is no firm reason, there is no fixed reason to be given why he cannot abide a gaping pig, that is why there are some men who do not like the gaping pig, and why he a harmless necessary cat, that why some men behave madly when they look at the domestic cat, and why he a woolen bagpipe, and why there are some men who do not maintain self control by listening bagpipe. So, but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to offend himself being offended. Now 57 to 59 number, very very important. Now what he says, that why such people behave in such a way, but of force, that is it is because of the force must yield to such inevitable shame, that is in such a shameful manner as they behave, for that they are forced from within as to offend himself being offended, because they themselves are offended by others, that's why they are forced to behave in offended manner with the others. Now 57 to 59 number, here you can see this one other side, that but when he himself is offended, he is compelled to react in such a shameful manner that he must give offense to the others. Okay, now by saying this point, what actually we come to know, that Shylock wants to say that Antonio, indirectly he wants to tell everyone that Antonio has so much troubled me in my life, he has offended me so much in my life, that now I am compelled from within to behave in such a way, that is to give offense to him. Okay, then he says, so can I give no reason, nor I will not. So he says that, so I can give no reason, I cannot give you any firm reason, nor I will not, and nor I am going to give you any reason. Then, more than a lost hate and a certain loathing, that only I could say to you is that more than a lost hate, that only I will give you reason this much, that I have deep rooted hatred, meaning is given other side, lost means deep rooted, line number 61, and I have deep rooted hatred from him and a certain loathing. A certain loathing is, that is a certain type of hatred I have for him. I bear Antonio. That I follow, thus a losing suit against him. Are you answered? And then he says, that a certain loathing I bear Antonio, that is I bear Antonio for a certain hatred, that I follow thus, and I have come to you. I follow thus, that is I have come to you, Duke, a losing suit against him. A losing suit is given 63 number, that is a legal case in which I lose money, that I have come to you with a case, with a legal case in which I have lose money. So are you answered now? Fine, today we shall complete till here. and then in the next class we will continue. Okay, goodbye children. Listen carefully and practice your workbook as well.